My setup checks all the boxes: adjustable chair, monitor stand, standing desk, vertical mouse, laptop stand, and of course, ergonomic keyboard. However, even though I don't have any pain, I feel like I could be more comfortable. So I went from this to this.
Wait a minute!
Let's address the obvious question: why? The short answer would be another question: why not? However, if I have to elaborate, it's about how much I have to adapt to my setup rather than the other way around. For example, when I tend to defy at high angles, I need to adjust my posture for the increased height. The problem is that I have a relatively short torso, which requires me to sit higher than I find comfortable. So I end up using lower tenting angles. It would be great if I could use high tenting angles without raising the keyboard. Something similar happens when I use my desk standing. The Defy has reverse tilting up to 10 degrees, but I want more. I would like the desk to be lower, so my arms are in a more natural position. Here's the idea. My keyboard has 4 screw holes in the back. I can design an adapter that accepts 1/4 inch screws, like those found in tripod heads. Then it's just a matter of finding an articulated camera arm that allows me to position the keyboard exactly as I want. Something like this. I can clamp it to the table and screw the keyboard to the other end, like a monitor arm, but for my keyboard. Let's get to work. So this kinda works, but the arms are a bit too short for the size of the keyboard, and the joints don't rotate 360 degrees, so the range of motions is pretty limited. I can get to position the keyboard like this, which is pretty comfortable, but the keyboard is almost hitting the desk, and if I want to change the angle, it almost hits the clamps. Plus, the clamps are not particularly sturdy, so the keyboard feels unstable when I type. It's definitely not what I had in mind. I need longer arms. Now we're talking. These arms are long enough and the joints move freely. But there are several significant problems. First, the whole system wobbles when I type. The clamps and the joints get loose over time, and having to attach the clamps to the edge of the table limits the possibilities. I need something strong. This is more like it. I can attach the suction cups firmly to either the top or the bottom of the table, which opens up a wide range of ways to position the keyboard. With the suction cups on top, I can achieve higher tenting angles. But most importantly, I can place the keyboard in reverse tilting and tenting. That is tented, but pointing down. This is great for using the standing desk. The keyboard can be lower and I can place my arms in a more relaxed position. Another option I like is placing the caps closer to the edge of the table, like this. That way I can tent the keyboard while keeping it at a similar height as my desk. If I want it even lower, I can place the suction cups underneath the table. I can assure you, they are more than strong enough to trust them with your beloved keyboard. Finally, I can also place the keyboard flat but lower than the desk, similar to what you'd get with a desk tray, but completely adjustable. I'm delighted with this solution. You can notice that these are professional-grade camera arms. They are super sturdy and the 360-degree joints allow for almost unlimited movement. They are also super easy to set up and adjust. First, screw the arms into the keyboard. Then, place the caps wherever you want and secure them in place by rotating the latch. Finally, place it however you want and tighten the arms. If you ever need to make adjustments, you only need to loosen one or both arms, move the keyboard, and tighten them again. On top of that, These arms are compatible with any keyboard with an attachment that accepts 1/4 of an inch screws, for example, the Moonlander or the Voyager. However, it's not perfect. First, the suction caps only work on smooth surfaces, like this desk. If your desk has a textured surface, it won't be strong enough. Of course, this also means that you can't use them on places like the armrest of the chair. There is a workaround for this. You can unscrew the arms from the suction caps and use them on any clamp that admits 1/4 inch screws, like this. But I haven't been able to find a clamp I'm happy with. These are too flimsy. Second, attaching and detaching the keyboard is a bit cumbersome. You need to unscrew it from the arms and you will still have the adapter pack underneath. That means that you can't use the keyboard flat. You need to set it to 10 degrees tenting or reverse tilting. The good news is that it fits in the travel case. But this is definitely more of a fixed setup. One option would be to stick a metal plate to the base of the keyboard and use MagSafe adapters. This makes the keyboard much easier to attach and detach, and you can still use the keyboard flat, but I have found this alternative to be far less sturdy. Plus, an unfortunate hit might end with your keyboard on the floor. No bueno. Third, in some positions, I don't have anywhere comfortable to put the mouse. I could engineer a solution to place a trackpad here in the middle, or maybe design a mouse tray that could go here. But that feels a bit too much. I could also use the mouse keys on the keyboard or software solutions like Mouseless. But sometimes you need something faster and more precise. It would be great if the keyboard had some kind of pointing device integrated. That's where this comes in. It's a mini trackpad that, thanks to some magnets, snaps nicely in this little gap of my Defy. When the Defy is tented at high degrees, it feels really comfortable reaching down rather than up for a trackpad here. And that's it. This is how I upgraded my ergonomic setup. What do you think? Despite it not being perfect, I'm absolutely loving it. It's super sturdy and offers a lot of flexibility. If you want to build one for yourself, you can get the articulated arm set and the adapter pack at Dygma.com. And if you'd like me to try something different or have an idea on how to improve my setup, please let me know in the comments below. And now, back to work.